details here on this is exclusive, ladies and gentlemen. A scare this evening as we reported live the details of how the story unfolded at the RA studio or the RA studio in Mumbai's Powai. And on the show this evening, we come to you on the 35-minute hostage crisis, details of Air India's Operation Sindoor subsidy demand, and the inside details of the regime change that was foiled by our government in 2020. Here are the headlines on this is exclusive. "17 kids held hostage in Mumbai's Powai. Police rescues them. 30-minute hostage crisis has ended."
मैं रोहित आर्या। सुसाइड करने की जगह मैंने एक प्लान बनाया और कुछ बच्चों को इधर हॉस्टेज रखा है। मुझे कुछ लोगों से बात करनी है, उनको सवाल पूछने हैं, उनके जवाब पर अगर मुझे काउंटर क्वेश्चन है तो मुझे काउंटर क्वेश्चन पूछना है, लेकिन मुझे ये जवाब चाहिए।
Mumbai Police opened fire at Rohit Arya, the man who admitted plotting the kidnapping. He's now succumbed to gunshots. Republic TV accesses the affidavit which will be filed in the court over the 2020 Delhi riots case, affidavit mentioning conspiracy to bring about regime change in 2020. Controversy hitting Air India. The national carrier wants a subsidy of 4,000 crore rupees from the government to recover losses after Operation Sindoor.
Good morning, Harsha. How are you?
Exposure.
How are you, Harsha, today? Nice to see you again.
Yes, but you have to respond to the questions. Why is India seeking
I wish you good morning.
Subsidy?
Good morning. It's nice to see you.
But 4,000 crore temporary subsidy.
Oh. Good morning.
As Republic questions Air India CEO Campbell Wilson on the Sindoor subsidy, Operation Sindoor subsidy, he ducks questions, responds with a mere just good morning. And on the show this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we are starting with the details of the daring operation in Mumbai. At the RA studio in Powai, a little after 1:45 p.m. today, a kidnapper who has now been identified as Rohit Arya, in the garb of calling for auditions for a web series, asked 100 children to gather at a studio, and we are picking up inside details. He let go of 80 of those children, aged between 10 and 15. And he kept 17 of them hostage inside a studio. The tense 35 minutes that unfolded, Republic TV is accessing more details. Let's get you the breaking news, inside details of that operation on this is exclusive. We are hearing that the police had to open fire because the kidnapper, Rohit Arya, opened fire at the police. We have more exclusive details and eyewitnesses speaking to us in a few minutes. But here's what we know so far as it happened.
A tense situation unfolded at RA Studios in Mumbai this afternoon after reports emerged of children hostage crisis inside the premises.
बिल्डिंग में यहाँ पर अंदर जो अंदर स्टूडियो था और यहाँ पे आर स्टूडियो है। आर स्टूडियो के ऊपर यहाँ पर जो बच्चों को बुलाया गया था और बच्चों को यहाँ पे बुलाकर बंधक बनाया गया था। लगभग 2 से 2.5 घंटे तक यहाँ पे मुंबई पुलिस ने ऑपरेशन किया।
In a 30-minute crisis, a man named Rohit Arya held 17 children hostage. In a video circulated by the suspect, he demanded to speak to certain individuals and warned that if his demands were not met, he would set fire to the premises and harm himself and the children.
मैं रोहित आर्या। सुसाइड करने की जगह मैंने एक प्लान बनाया और कुछ बच्चों को इधर हॉस्टेज रखा है। मेरे कुछ ज़्यादा डिमांड्स नहीं है, बहुत सिंपल डिमांड्स है, बहुत मॉरल डिमांड्स है, बहुत एथिकल डिमांड्स है, और मेरे कुछ सवाल है। मुझे कुछ लोगों से बात करनी है, उनको सवाल पूछने हैं, उनके जवाब पर अगर मुझे काउंटर क्वेश्चन है तो मुझे काउंटर क्वेश्चन पूछना है, लेकिन मुझे ये जवाब चाहिए। मुझे दूसरा कुछ नहीं चाहिए। ना मैं टेररिस्ट हूँ, ना मेरी बहुत बड़ी पैसों की डिमांड है, कुछ भी पैसों की डिमांड तो है ही नहीं, इमोरल तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है। सिंपल कॉन्वर्सेशंस करने हैं और जिसके लिए मैं इन बच्चों को हॉस्टेज लिया है। ये मैंने एक प्लान के तहत ही हॉस्टेज लिया है। लेट्स चेंज 4 मैं सच में करने वाला हूँ। अगर ज़िंदा रहा तो मैं करूँगा, अगर मैं मर गया तो कोई और करेगा, लेकिन होगा ज़रूर। इन्हीं बच्चों के साथ होगा अगर इनको हार्म नहीं होता है तो, बिकॉज द स्लाइटेस्ट रॉन्ग मूव फ्रॉम योर एंड विल ट्रिगर मी।
Soon after, Mumbai Police rushed to the spot. All the children were safely rescued and accused Rohit Arya was taken into custody.
टीम यहाँ पे जो बंधक बनाया गया था उसको बचा के लेके जा रही है। तस्वीरें देख रहे हैं किस तरह से मुंबई पुलिस की टीम जो अंदर बंधक बनाए थे, जो बंधक बनाए गए थे उनको बाहर लेके गई है। तस्वीरें जो देखा कि किस तरह से हाथ में खून था लगा हुआ था और चोट के निशान थे।
Crucial details emerged soon after. The accused was shot and reportedly died during the treatment in Mumbai hospital. For the past 5 days, the accused had reportedly been conducting auditions at the location. On Thursday morning, when nearly 100 children arrived for auditions, the accused allowed 80 children to leave and kept 20 others confined inside. The Mumbai Police, having received the first call at 1:45 p.m., barged into the premises, opened fire and disarmed the kidnapper. During the search operation, some chemicals and an air gun was recovered from the spot. This video shows the confined children sending out distress signals. While security remains high, eyewitnesses recall what happened.
ऑडिशन के नाम पे ये सब चल रहा था। पिक्चर में, वेब सीरीज़ में काम देंगे करके पूरे मुंबई शहर से लोगों को बुलाया गया था। 6 दिन से ये चल रहा है। एक्चुअली 3 दिन का ऑडिशन था, लेकिन इसने फिर ये बढ़ाया, ये बंदे ने, ये जो रोहित आर्या करके जो बंदा था, इसने 3 दिन बढ़ाया। इसके बाद में इसका आगे का शूटिंग का भी प्लान था, लेकिन आज जब लंच के टाइम जब बच्चे बाहर नहीं आए तो अंदर से किसी ने शायद फ़ोन किया होगा कि बच्चे किडनैप हो गए करके। जब यहाँ पर पुलिस आई तब मालूम पड़ा कि पेरेंट्स लोगों को कि अंदर बच्चे किडनैप हो गए।
A yellow bus arrived at the premises soon after to take away the children.
And we're getting in details of the entire operation that was conducted when the QRT, or the Quick Response Team of the Mumbai Police, responded. I'm going across to the details accessed by my colleague Shavan Sen, and Satya Prakash is also joining me live on the broadcast right now. The operation lasted about 35 minutes. The Quick Response Team, or the QRT team of 8 commandos were used in this operation. The 8 commandos barged in. We had pictures of the commandos, so we can show those pictures as well. Immediately after the operation, they were waiting outside the building. So we'll show you the pictures as well. It lasted about 35 minutes. 8 commandos in all, a part of the QRT. The lead commander was trying to negotiate. Those are the pictures of the QRT that was stationed outside the RA studio in Powai in Mumbai. The lead commander was carrying out negotiations. He then retaliated. He retaliated, injuring the kidnapper. In fact, it was at a moment when he did not respond to the negotiator, when he knew that it wasn't going anywhere, when the negotiation failed, he tried to harm the children. And that is why. And that is when the kidnapper also opened fire, and the police retaliated in a split second, injuring the kidnapper. Students were then called, taken out one by one. The room was completely cramped when the team entered. The lead commander first shot at this kidnapper, and then the rest of the 8-member team moved in, and they managed to rescue the children from there. Satya Prakash is joining us live. Satya Prakash, ये जो video record की गई थी, and we saw the video, and in this video, he's admitting the plot. He says, I'm going to kidnap them, I have them with me. ये किसके लिए था? This message was recorded for whom? And why was he kidnapping these children? What was the motive?
जिस तरह से किडनैपर था, जिस तरह से वीडियो रिकॉर्ड किया गया, पूरी तरह से प्लान के तहत किया गया था। मैं तस्वीरें दिखा रहा हूँ कि इसी बिल्डिंग के राज स्टूडियो है और इसी बिल्डिंग में अंदर नीचे जो है राज स्टूडियो है। यहाँ पर वेब सीरीज का ऑडिशन करने के लिए बुलाया गया था और जो आरोपी है लगभग 3 दिनों से यहाँ पे ऑडिशन कर रहा था। जिस तरह से वीडियो रिकॉर्ड किया गया और जिस तरह से पूरा प्लान के तहत किया गया, क्योंकि पहले वीडियो रिकॉर्ड किया गया, जो लोग थे उनको बंधक बनाया गया है और जो एक स्टाफ था जो अंदर मौजूद था उसको दूसरे रूम में बंद किया गया था। तो कहीं ना पूरे प्लान के तहत रोहित ने किया था। फिलहाल जो है फोरेंसिक टीम अंदर मौजूद है, मुंबई पुलिस के अधिकारी टीम मौजूद है और लगातार इस मामले को लेकर जांच कर रहे हैं। लेकिन ये सबसे बड़ा सवाल है कि जो रोहित है, जो वीडियो बनाया है, उसमें साफ तौर से कह रहा है कि हम कुछ बात करना चाहते हैं, कुछ कहना चाहते हैं और कुछ लोगों से बात करना चाहते हैं। तो ये सब सारी चीज़ों को लेकर मुंबई पुलिस जांच कर रही है। जो फाइनेंशियल के लेकर बात आ रही है, कुछ पैसे को लेकर बात आ रहा है कि कहीं ये जो रोहित है जी।
Okay, Satya Prakash, thank you for joining us with those details. I'll come back to you. Satya Prakash at Powai in Mumbai, getting us the inside details of the operation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm quickly moving to our second story because I'm getting in some more breaking news from Afghanistan. Before that, the Air India story. When India was responding to Pakistan post the Pahalgam attack, and when our forces were responding diplomatically, strategically, militarily, we all united as a country. Nobody complained, cribbed of lives being affected. And believe it or not, today, Air India is asking for compensation from the government because the Pakistan government decided to close their airspace during Operation Sindoor. And because the airspace was closed and because it affected Air India's operations, Air India is hiding behind numbers, trying to claim that they suffered losses, and they're seeking or claiming at least 4,000 crore in losses, and they want compensation for it. Republic is getting you the full details. In fact, before I play out the report, let me first tell you what else is in that report. I'll play out the graphics right now, play out the graphics, and also put the breaking news out there because we have access to the entire presentation that was put out by Air India to the Ministry of Civil Aviation and other ministries. And in that detailed presentation that we have, Air India has put out some numbers, some figures. They have claimed losses, but they seem to be hiding behind a smokescreen. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, Air India, which has been in the news for back-to-back incidents involving passengers, inconveniencing passengers, putting lives of passengers at risk. You've had the crash in Ahmedabad, where over 260 people were killed in a crash. And it is, ironically, Air India today is asking for compensation from the government because of something that Pakistan did. And this compensation at the end of the day will be exchequer money. It will be paid for by the taxpayer, which means it's you and me. What in the world is Air India, or what were they thinking? And we are being told that the government has also questioned Air India in that meeting today. Let me go across to Vandana Singh. Vandana Singh is joining us on the broadcast this evening. Vandana Singh is an aviation expert. I want to go across to her. And Vandana, it is bizarre. It is bizarre that an airline, and they're the only airline, by the way. All airlines were impacted. All airlines. And it's not like they're a small airline. They are one of the biggest companies in India. They're the flagship carrier. And they are asking for money from the government as Operation Sindoor subsidy. I mean, just hearing the details, going through the details of that presentation got most of us angry. When you hear of Air India asking for compensation, and for an airline that has been in the news for all the wrong reasons, right? What do you make of it?
Niranjan, firstly, thank you for having me on your show. When I am seeing this, I'm finding it aghast. It's bizarre for them to ask for compensation. My question is, firstly, are they a national carrier or are they a private carrier? Second thing is, what were the routes that are affected? Let's say Pakistan airspace closure. Is this a unique situation? I don't think so. What's happening with geopolitical tensions all over the world? Every other carrier is affected somewhere or the other, whether it's Russia, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's over airspaces earlier over the Middle East, whether it was over Saudi Arabia with the Qatar Airways blockade. I mean, this is happening all the time. So my question is, this is bizarre for them to even demand or even think of something like this, and rightfully so, the government is questioning it. Right now, Chinese carriers have started coming in. We have started flying into China. Guangzhou has opened. Shanghai and Guangzhou, Delhi will also happen very soon. So what happened then? Were they asking for China as well? I mean, the question itself is aghast. How can they even think and ask such a question from the government? And they are not our national carrier, not at all. They are a private carrier. They're owned by Tatas, and they need to have their act right rather than trying to, do the shadow thing and come up with weird figures over there, which is due to their own operational insufficiencies, their own maintenance, their own irregularities, and we've been screaming that all the while. One more thing, Niranjan. What happened during the Kumbh Mela? What were the prices from Cochin to Prayagraj? They were crossing Paris. Nobody sees that. And what are the routes affected? As I said, they are just 3 or 4. It's Del DXB, Del Dubai, Del YYZ, or Toronto, Del JFK, and Tashkent. And they are making you and cry over that for compensation. I see a foul play over here. Over to you, Niranjan.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Vandana ji, for joining us on the broadcast. I'm going across quickly to the next breaking news story coming in on This Is Exclusive. These pictures and details coming in this minute into our newsrooms. The Taliban and the Afghanistan forces have been conducting air exercises, interestingly timed at a time when India is also holding the Trishul exercise. The Taliban Air Force, or the Afghanistan Air Force, has conducted a military exercise using Indian-made helicopters in the Panjwai district of Kandahar province, near the border with Pakistan on Thursday. That's today. In 2019, the government of India had provided 5 military helicopters to the previous government of Afghanistan, but now they are with the Afghan forces, and the base in Kandahar announced that during this exercise, targets were attacked. These are exercises, of course. Military targets were chosen and attacked for practice, and the forces of this group in Kandahar, operated by the Afghanistan forces and Taliban, have carried out operational exercises. What is significant is that Indian-made helicopters have been used in the Afghanistan military drills. It is significant for more reasons than one. Shavan, it's not coincidental that Afghanistan is holding this exercise at a time when we too are at the border, different borders, along the borders, holding military exercises. Not to say that this is timed, it's not. But the fact that Afghanistan is doing it at a time when they're also engaged in a conflict with Pakistan makes it more significant, and using helicopters made by India even more significant.
Well, in fact, this was twice that India had basically gifted Afghanistan with attack helicopters. It was Mi-24 and a Mi-25 helicopter that was gifted by India to Afghanistan back in the year 2019 to begin with, when 2 attack helicopters was given to Afghanistan, which has essentially been used by the Afghanistan army. Now, it's important to point out here that since the clash between Afghanistan and Pakistan actually began, this is for the first time when a full-fledged drill was actually carried out by the Afghanistan army. Over the last 24 hours, there was a drill that was carried out at the Durand line, and now we are being told that this afternoon at Kandahar is when air drill was carried out. You already had the fighter jets. These are some of the fighter jets are the ones which the Americans have been using, which was left over and was taken over by the Taliban. In fact, this was with the Afghanistan army, and which is exactly what is being carried out, even which is being used even now. The second is with regards to the Indian-made helicopters. You have Mi-21 and Mi-25 helicopters that have been used by the Afghanistan army in the past. The same very attack helicopters have now been used in the Kandahar air drills that was carried out. And it's quite significant because not very far away from the Pakistan border is where these drills have been carried out, and the messaging that the Afghans are essentially doing to the Pakistanis. Keeping in mind that the talks that have taken place in Istanbul have completely failed. Pakistan has now essentially indicated that they want to come back on the negotiating table with the Afghans. It's a clear realization on the Pakistanis' part that they can no longer perhaps carry out their activities inside Afghanistan, and more importantly, they cannot treat Afghanistan as a pushover.
Shravan, quick question. There are simultaneous drills happening, military drills, Air Force drills. What is the status of the talks? Have the talks completely broken down? Because there were some reports that suggested that maybe the talks were back on track. Is there any indication of that with Pakistan and Afghanistan?
Well, in fact, the Pakistanis had basically threatened Afghans, saying that if they cannot continue with the talks, then they will obliterate Taliban, which certainly hasn't gone down well, the Taliban regime, where they've essentially said that they are not going to have any talks with their counterparts in Pakistan unless their demands are essentially met with. Their demands are with regards to the Durand line, and secondly, as far as TTP is concerned, you've had the Afghans making it very clear that they are not going to interfere at any cost, something that the Pakistanis are unwilling to accept at this point in time. The Pakistanis have been completely on their back foot right now, because it seems a message has been sent across to the Afghans that they want to come back on the negotiating table, hoping that they will be able to recalibrate their position.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Shravan, for joining us with those inputs, keeping a close track on the situation at the border. Not just the Afghanistan-Pakistan border, but India's exercise Trishul is also underway. Ladies and gentlemen, we have more details of that coming up tonight on the show as well. Thanks for watching.